Hi, everybody. It's Craig and Arun back with your NFL Week 13 Sunday action. Hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving and Black Friday in the NFL. But either way, good or bad, we're here to make this a winning Sunday for you in NFL action. We've got a total like 12, 13 games, so make sure you stay tuned. If you want to get in on our top plays, very simple. Go over to docsports.com/Craig Arun. You'll get both of our football plays for both college football and the NFL, just $99. A little glitch in the system. If you buy on Sunday or Monday, you get not only that day's picks or the rest of this week's picks, but you get all of next week, all the way through Monday Night Football as well. So make sure you're not just getting 1 or 2 days of picks. You'll get all next week if you're buying on Sunday or Monday. Also, don't forget about YouTube Premium. This is the edge, as IC calls it. It goes really well with that football pass. All these are extra plays that just fall short of our cards. So if you like betting more than a couple games a day, this is for you, in addition with that other. So $49.99 a month will get you all 3 levels. Click the link in the description to get in. Okay, NFL, let's kick us off here. I see you are going to start us. And people say, hey, why don't you say Indian Cowboy? It's really long. If I say Indian Cowboy 13 extra times, we're adding like a minute to the video. So I've gotten in the habit, and most people around here call him IC, just so you guys know. First game we're kicking off here is 1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Houston at Indy. Indy, tough overtime loss at Kansas City. They're a 4.5-point favorite here, total 44. Can Indy get back on track here?
So, look, I want to point out a couple things here. Houston is a 4.5-point dog. Huge win, right, against Buffalo. And winning against Tennessee, they didn't cover that game. Winning against the Jaguars, that was a big game too. That Jacksonville game is a monster game because it's a divisional game, and they had revenge. So now they've won 3 in a row. Houston has fantastic culture. They just have fantastic. I saw an article the other day talking about how out of all the NFL teams, Houston players are the happiest. Interesting, right? Out of all the teams in the NFL, Houston players feel like it's a family. The McNair family really loves them. And they care about them. So Houston's doing a lot of things right, okay? And so they play for – look, they have a backup quarterback, and he went 16 for 30, threw for 153 yards, and that was good enough to beat the Bills because DeMeco Ryans is a defensive-minded coach. From where, Craig? Alabama. So he's an Alabama guy, so he loves defense. So then you have the Colts who come in off of a tough 2023 loss against the Chiefs. A game where the Chiefs put up 11 points unanswered in the fourth quarter, and then 3 points in overtime. So they basically put up 14 straight points. That's got to be brutal, right? You're up 20-9, and then you don't score. So that's got to be tough. So you got a Colts team that's ticked off. You got a Houston team coming off a huge win. I think what happens here, given the fact that Houston has won this game the last 3 times in a row, I think you're going to see a really ticked off Colts team. And I'm going to back the Colts here minus the 4.5. I think they're going to be angry. And I'm going to keep it simple, and I'm going to take the Colts. Craig, Atlanta here, 2.5-point chalk against the Jets. My Falcons are probably the most dysfunctional and probably the most schizophrenic team, in my opinion, sometimes. And you have a team here that somehow beat the Saints, but they don't beat the Panthers. I am not a fan of Kirk Cousins. I think he's a decent backup, but I think it's a weird situation. I'm a huge fan of Penix Jr. The Jets, of course, have covered 4 straight. They did cover against Baltimore, to their credit. They have Taylor here, 17 for 28. But the Jets will continue to do dysfunctional Jets teams. Oh, we believe in Justin Fields, and they put in Tyrod. And they'll do the same crap next year, too, putting in Justin Fields and going back to Tyrod, and they'll just keep doing that and collecting paychecks. But who do you like here? Falcons coming off a 24-10 win. Jets have covered 4 straight, but come off back-to-back losses, though they did cover against the Patriots and Ravens, which is impressive. Who do you like?
This is a tough game because it's really about Atlanta. We kind of know what we get from this Jets team. In the same game, they'll be good and bad. Every game, they do some really bonehead things. They do some great things. It's really about how the team is playing them. How good are they playing? And I just think Atlanta seems to be a team that when you expect the least, they give you the most. Like last game, you're like, oh, New Orleans, this is like New Orleans Super Bowl. They can get in and to win, and then Atlanta shows up and really was never close. I kind of feel this is a very similar game. I'm going to take Atlanta. Kirk Cousins just got to if he can not turn the ball over, the talent gap in this game alone is it's way too great. So only turnovers, I think, keep the Jets in this game. I'm going to take the points. Take Atlanta.
You believe in my Falcons.
Hey, I don't say I believe on them. I believe on them against the Jets. I'll believe on them against the Jets. Next, don't forget to like and subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss out on all the great content we have here at Doc Sports. game, Rams and the Carolina Panthers. Carolina Panthers shot themselves in the foot more times than not last game against San Francisco, losing on Monday Night Football. Rams continue to be, I think, the second best team in football. Maybe the best team in football. I mean, they're right there, 9-2 on the year. They're 4-1 on the road, both straight up and against the spread. They're facing a Carolina team that all of a sudden, with the Baker injury, they feel like they can win that division, I think. But they're going to have to play much better than they did last week. Carolina, 10.5-point underdog, total 45. What do you like?
Well, the Rams offense is playing exceptionally well. So keep in mind the Rams expect Tutu Atwell, wide receiver Tutu Atwell, to return this week. Shout out to his parents for naming him Tutu. So the Rams here have won 6 in a row, right?
That's got to be a nickname, by the way.
No. His
No
name is
way.
Tutu Atwell. Yeah, his name is. Hold on, I'll find it. Yes,
I'm
yes,
pretty sure it's his nickname.
No, his name is Tutu. His birth name is Tutu Tutu Atwell. He went to University of Louisville. He's 5'9". And his name is Tutu Atwell. All right, so getting back to this. By the way, my Falcons are like syphilis. Just when you think you get rid of them, you never really truly get rid of them.
Only a doctor can say that.
Yeah. So the Rams here, coming off a big win against the Bucks, right, 34-7. They cover that game too, okay? And obviously that QB injury played a role into it, et cetera. I think their most impressive wins are against the Seahawks, and they throttled the Jaguars 35-7, which, of course, the Jaguars, head coach used to be part of the Rams coaching staff, right, under McVay, so he knows exactly what he's running. He learned a lot of what he did under McVay, and, of course, beating the Colts. Carolina coming off a tough loss here against San Francisco. Lots of opportunities. Bryce Young went 18 for 29, but had 2 interceptions. Brock Purdy threw 3 interceptions. That Panthers defense is good, by the way. The line sits at 10.5. This is a tough game. I don't find as much value in this game, and the Rams come in as a 10.5-point chalk, but I do like the over. I think Carolina is going to score more points than 9. The last time they scored 7 against the Saints, they put up 30 against the Falcons, or they scored 9 against Buffalo, and then they put up their 16. I think they'll have a better offensive performance. I think they'll be an active dog, and they'll probably push this game over the posted total. All right, Craig. Jaguars, 6.5-point chalk against the Titans. Jaguars, nice wins of late, beating Arizona and the Chargers back-to-back wins. The Chargers win is pretty impressive. They are 7-4. Tennessee is 1-10. They're trying to do what Carolina did and trying to win some ball games and trying to turn the page there. They have covered 3 in a row, covered against the Chargers, lost by 3 to the Texans, lost by 6 to the Seahawks. They're playing better right now. Do you think that continues here? Ward did throw for 256, 1 touchdown and no interceptions last game. What do you think happens here? Jaguars are rolling, back-to-back wins. Tennessee coming off 3 straight covers, though, but losses. What do you like?
This is a huge letdown spot for the Jaguars. It really, really is. They're only 1 game out of the Colts now. They've really battled back here. Do I think the Jaguars are going to win? Yes. They won 3 of their last 4 games, and really that Houston game really should have been 4 in a row. But this Titans team, it's been feisty the last few weeks. They got a backdoor cover last week. I think it will be a similar cover this week. I would buy the 0.5 point to get to 7, but I will say this. The Titans have been feisty. They have not given up hope, and you're facing a division opponent that you're going to be facing many years in the future. Not that all these Titans players will be here next year, but there's several that will, including Cam Ward. I think Cam Ward has a good game. And the Jaguars have turned the ball over. That's been their one thing that it's like, I think you take the underdog here. You buy the 0.5 point and take them at +7. Next game, Arizona at Tampa Bay. It sounds like Baker will play, but I would wait on this game if you're going to play Tampa Bay because, it's always, last-minute decisions on these type of things. Tampa Bay's favored by 3, total 44.5. What do you like?
Yeah. So let me pull up my notes here. What I'll tell you about this game is that you have an Arizona team that's only 3-point dog, right? They're 3-8. But how many times do we see Arizona as a small dog? I'm getting tired of it, to be honest with you. 2.5-point dog against the Jags, they failed to cover. 3.5-point dog against San Francisco, failed to cover. 7.5-point dog against Seahawks, failed to cover. They did cover against Dallas and Green Bay as small dogs. So they were 2-point dog against San Francisco on the road. They continue to come in always in the small dog range, right? And then it was that game against the Jaguars. That was a game where they ended up losing in overtime. So, and then you have Tampa Bay here, who comes off an ugly loss, 7-34, and they did not get the production they needed. Obviously, Mayfield went out, and then Bridgewater came in, and but Mayfield, even before he went out, he just struggled. 41 yards passing, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. It was not a good game for him. So now the question becomes, what happens here? I do think that what probably happens here is that you probably get a decent effort from Arizona. They're clicking, and I just don't fully trust Tampa Bay here, a -3. I mean, maybe Teddy plays better. We have to kind of wait and see what happens. But I do think Arizona, as they come off of a tough loss, I do think it makes sense, because I just can't imagine them losing, possibly 4 in a row here. And Tampa Bay, I just don't think they're the same team at all without Baker. So I'm going to take a small lead here on Arizona, but I don't love it. But I'm going to take a small lead on Arizona. Greg, Saints and Miami hook up here. Saints plus 6-point dog here. Saints were actually favored in their last game against the Falcons and laid an absolute egg. Miami, of course, comes in off back-to-back wins against Washington and Buffalo. They're 4-7. They've actually covered 4 out of their last 6. Things have quieted down a little bit. Maybe they're getting better. You have Tua 20 last game. People are pretty harsh on Miami. Maybe the coach saved his job. I don't know. What do you think happens here?
Well, for Miami fans, I hope that's not the case, because I do think they need a shift in culture there, and that comes from the top down. They already fired the general manager. I think it's just a matter of time. But if he wins out, then it's like, what are you going to do? Or get you to 8-9, what are you going to do? I think you take the total in this game. I just can't lay 6 points. I do think the Dolphins would be the play for me, but I can't lay 6 points with a team that I just can't forget what I saw at the beginning of the year from Miami, even though they've played better lately. New Orleans has been great. I think the last 7 games, they pushed once and gone under all the other games. Their defense is good. Their offense is terrible. And Miami isn't what you remember on offense, because Tyreek Hill's been out. So it's like they're not a team that can really push the ball down the field like we remember that they were doing a couple years ago. So I'm going to take the under in this game. It's under 42. I don't think either team gets above 20. So I think that it gives us a pretty easy under in this spot. Next game, 49ers at the Browns. Browns have finally said Shedeur Sanders is going to be the starter for the 2nd straight week. Nice win at the Raiders last week. Thought the rookie played pretty good. Not great, but for the Browns, at what we've seen for the last, 10 years at quarterback, since Baker left, or whatever that was, 5 years ago, 4 years ago, it's all they needed for that good defense. The Niners coming off a big win on Monday Night Football, short week and having to travel. 49ers favored by 5, total of 38.5. What do you like?
Well, Shedeur had a huge opportunity to really thank his offensive linemen, thank the wide receivers, and then he talked about, he talked clown things in the interview, imagine if I had a whole season. Just talk about your O-line, talk about your running backs, talk about your receivers. He had a huge opportunity at that moment after beating the Raiders, who are horrible, to be like, yeah, it's about, of course, Chip Kelly gets fired after that, but to talk about, his team, right? Be a leader, right? And he took that opportunity to talk about himself, which is why he is disliked in this league, which is why he didn't start, because will guys rally around somebody that's truly about themselves? I don't know. Maybe it's different in the locker room. There's a huge difference in Shedeur Sanders and Jameis Winston. Okay, Jameis Winston is beloved. Have you seen? I mean, if you saw some of his stuff, these guys. I saw a funny quote about a Browns fan who was like, "If my Browns lost every single game, I would have no issues with Jameis Winston being our quarterback, because we would be in every game."
He was there last year, though. They didn't love him. They didn't love him that much.
Well, yeah. Well, now look at the guy. Now look at the guy they have now, and it's like, look at New York. New York loves Jameis. They could care less they're losing. They're having a great time. He's the perfect backup for Dart, right? He's just a huge culture building guy. You go into Detroit and you nearly win outright. You nearly beat the Packers at home. He's a massive culture building guy. He's basically an assistant coach disguised as a quarterback. And also as a tight end, running over people, running into a touchdown, which is phenomenal. You have a San Francisco team that's back-to-back big wins against Carolina, Arizona. I mean, how will Shedeur play? We'll see, right? He went 11 for 20, 208 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. I think the odds makers are a little cautious about this game too. It should be interesting to see. I do think that I was curious to see what the total would come out as, and it came out as 38.5. I do like the under in this game. I don't, I think this will be an opportunity where Cleveland does not make him try to do too much. So that kind of makes a little bit of sense here. So, we'll see what happens here. Keep in mind, Myles Garrett has about 18, sacks this year. I think they can sneak inside the +5 too, probably because some of these guys, but maybe we don't know. Maybe in the locker room they really play for Sugar. I really don't. I will tell you this though, Craig. He was making throws that Dylan Gabriel cannot make. So I'm going to take a small lead here on Cleveland plus the 5, and maybe a smaller lean on the under. Craig, Minnesota hooking up against Seattle here. Minnesota is a 10.5-point dog on the road, 4-17, facing an 8-3 team here. Minnesota lost to Green Bay 6-23. They're not going to the playoffs. They've lost 3 straight covers. Unfortunately, this experiment with J.J. McCarthy has not panned out. He threw for 87 yards against Green Bay, 2 interceptions. That GM, whoever pushed for J.J. McCarthy, should probably be fired. Seattle comes off of a win against Tennessee, winning 30-24, but did not cover in that game. They needed, they failed to cover that -13. These two teams did meet last year. Minnesota won 27-24. Who do you like here?
I mean, we've seen so many different quarterbacks. I don't know why the Vikings quarterback room the last, 3 years, it's just the number of different guys had to start. But they've been successful with backups, even on short weeks. Back in they're bringing in guys off the scrap heap and winning last few years. Max Brosmer, he's from right down the road. He played at Minnesota, so they're very familiar, this fan base of him. I think the Vikings just avoid turnovers. They'll be better than they were with J.J. McCarthy. I think you take the underdog here. I think it's a huge letdown spot for Seattle. Seattle's, they're battling in the toughest conference in football, division in football, and all they want to do is win. They don't care about the cover. Next week they play at Atlanta, then Indy, and then the Rams again. So, they're looking like to win the division, they're probably going to only be able to lose 1 or 2 more games. So I do think they win the game, but I do think they fall short of the cover. Give me the double-digit plus here with Minnesota and Broxmer at quarterback starting for the Vikings. Hopefully it's not J.J. McCarthy. That's the only, but it looks like he's going to be out. Plus 10.5 Vikings. Next game, Bills. Huge letdown spot last time out at Houston on primetime. Now they go to Pittsburgh and face a Steelers team that's kind of reeling right now, really needs this win. It sounds like Aaron Rodgers will be back. Bills are favored by 3.5, total 47.5. I'm not saying it's a must win for both these teams, but if you look at their, it kind of is, right?
Yeah, it is. I mean, Pittsburgh still has some serious injuries here. Alex Highsmith is still out with a pectoral injury. Rodgers is questionable with that fractured wrist, but is expected to start per Coach Tomlin. Allen has experienced some shoulder nerve issues as well. But he hasn't missed a start, but the concern remains. These two teams last faced each other, last year when the Bills won 31-17. The Bills are 7-4, though it feels like they're doing worse than that, doesn't it? Coming off a loss to Houston, 19-23. That loss to Miami was a terrible loss to my Falcons. The loss to Miami and Atlanta is inexcusable. Pittsburgh, of course, comes in losing to the Bears, 28-31, but the Bears are good. And that was a game where you had Mitchell Trubisky. You had Mason Rudolph going 24-31, right? 171 yards. Look, I think even if Rodgers starts this game, right? And I will tell you this. The fact that the Steelers beat the Colts was a pretty big deal. Okay, there's no doubt about that. Rodgers played pretty well that game. And, that was a huge win for these Steelers teams. But I just think that you have a Bills team that did lose back-to-back games once this season. You have a Pittsburgh team that had lost back-to-back games, Cincinnati and Green Bay. The total comes into this contest at 47.5. I think with Rodgers coming back, I can see a little bit of better offensive production here. I think the Bills are going to score more than 19 points. They're going to bounce back big way. Last time they scored 13 points against Miami, they put up 44 against Tampa Bay, or 14 points against Atlanta. They put up 40 against Carolina. I think the only way to look at this game for me is the over, Craig, between these two squads. How's it? Sign up for our free $60 of the premium selections, which is DocSports.com/ICCT. You get free $60 of the premium selection so you can try us out. It's the best way to kind of thank us for all the hard work that we do, along with liking and subscribing and joining on YouTube Premium. Craig, Vegas here, a 10-point dog against the Chargers. Vegas are 2-9. That over-under in the beginning of the year was 4.5. If you remember, we talked about making that, my 8-star total. Vegas, ugly loss to Cleveland, 10-24. Chargers are 7-4. Ugly loss to Jacksonville, 6-35. Both these teams coming off ugly losses. Who do you like here?
I think the Chargers really needed that week off, the bye week. And sometimes when you have a really bad loss and then you have a bye week, it gets everybody focused. It's not like you're riding high, like we don't need to change anything. We don't need to. No. When you get killed like that to a team that, you feel like you shouldn't, you're going to be focused. I think they do so. I think the Chargers lay the wood to a bad Raiders team. I mean, I know Cleveland's got a good defense. but they looked so confused. And that's not been the first week. You fired Chip Kelly, like it's his fault. Like, dude, you have a lack of talent. That's where your gap is in the NFL. Talent rules the day at the end of the day. I don't think it was Chip Kelly's fault. I don't think it gets any better this week. Give me the Chargers, Coach Harbaugh, I think, off of a bad loss and a bye, gets it done here, minus the 10. Last game, we got the Washington, I almost called them Redskins, but Commanders hosting in a Denver Broncos team that's just playing great football. 9-2 on the year. I mean, you look at their schedule. If they end up getting the number 1 seed in a very, very tough AFC West, they're going to be deserving favorites to win the Super Bowl, or at least be one of the Super Bowl favorites. Denver's favored by 6.5 here, total 43.5. What do you like?
Yeah, I mean, look, the NFL decided not to flex this game out, despite the Commanders being terrible. Right, Jaden Daniels is still out with the dislocated elbow.
Well, they had a little less options this week because of the Thursday and Friday games, so I think it was like, some of these other games they can't pick. It looks like to us bystanders that they can just flex any team in, but that's just not the way it works. So maybe this was as good as any option. Yeah,
I mean, look, what else are you going to do? And Denver is still a top 5 run limiting defense as well. They are 9, and they're sitting at. Hold on, let me check something real fast. Yeah, their last contest here was against the Chiefs, obviously winning 22-19. That was a monster win for them. You have a Washington team that comes off of a loss to Miami, 13-16. They've lost, obviously 6 in a row coming in. The concept that Mariota is going to lead you to a victory going 20 for 30 is not there for them. The question is, how much does Denver really care about this game coming into this contest? Denver did beat Kansas City. They could have a letdown here. Are you really going to trust Washington for an over here after scoring 13 points? Yeah, maybe. I think what I probably like about this game is the total sits at 43.5. Everybody's going to be on Denver as well. I'm going to take a small lean here on the over in this contest. I do think they'll have more success than they did against Miami. Keep in mind that in that game, they only scored 13 points. I think Denver, when they have an opportunity, Denver hasn't busted out an offense for a while now. 18 against Houston, 10 against Vegas, 22 against Kansas City. This could be one of those games similar to the Giants game. It was like 33-32. I know how good this Denver defense is as well, but I'm going to take a small lean on the over here, but I don't necessarily love it, and I can't trust any of the – I guess Denver could cover as a huge public favorite, but, I don't like doing public favorites. So I'm going to take the over, Craig, between these two spots.
All right, that's what we have for Week 13, Sunday's action, of course. Happy Thanksgiving. We didn't say so. Hopefully, we'll help you pay those bills with these winners. And even more so if you get in on our best plays. People always say, hey, what's your best play? Leave it in the comments. This is where our best plays are. 14 plays this week, 2-for-1 football pass, just $99, only at this link. And don't forget, if you get this on Sunday or Monday, you're not just getting Sunday or Monday. You get all of next week's football plays as well, including college football. That will be championship week, by the way. So if you get in on Sunday or Monday, you're getting that week, including all the way through Monday Night Football. All right, guys. Also, don't forget about the YouTube premium levels. Link is in the description. It goes really well with our football pass. And this is all sports that just miss our plays. $49.99. Link is in the description for all 3 levels, but you can also buy level 2 at $19.99. That's IC and Lenny. You get that as well, or you just get level 1 for $44.99. All right, guys. Have a great day. See you again tomorrow. Thanks again, IC.